How would you describe the Seagle Music Colony?
Well, the Seagle Music Colony is the oldest summer vocal training program in the United States, and in 2001 we were named the best program in the United States. Singers between the age of 20 and 26 come every summer for 9 weeks to have intense voice lessons, coachings, and they put on productions for the people of our region.
Set me the scoops of wine on the table.
So you're a summer program. How many young singers do you have each year?
We only have 32, and that's really important when you realize that we will hear about 800 singers this year to pick those 32 from. So it's highly competitive, and then they arrive in the summer, and they're there for what they call opera boot camp. It is a 9-week breakneck, all no holds barred, amazing training program. They really get 2 years worth of university training packed into 9 weeks. And where we're different than the university is we do training that helps them set up their business as a singer. So they have to present me with a strategic plan at the end of the summer, a 5-year plan. And if they're undergraduates, well, that 3 years of that could be finishing undergraduate and 2 graduate school. But how many years are they going to be at Seagle? What are they going to do after that? What competitions are they going to sing for? So we line it all out for them. We have people that do tax planning come and talk about the importance of starting to save now. We try to give them everything they need to know to start their career.
And even how to audition for shows.
Oh yeah, that's a very important point. They bring a whole audition package. They come in just like it's a New York audition, and we have our director there, I'm there, a coach is there, even our costumer is there. They sing the audition, and the panel takes notes, and we give immediate feedback to them. And she will even say, maybe that, hem your pants, or your shoes aren't polished. And they become really lean, mean audition machines, which is important because now the program has gotten to be so important in the business that we have people from Washington National Opera, the Metropolitan Opera, Glimmerglass, festivals all over the country come to Seagle 2 or 3 days in the summer just to hear them before they're ready to go out to the world. I asked one time the head of Houston Grand Opera, I said, I'm really flattered, but these are kids that are not going to be doing that for another couple or 3 years. And she said, you know what? My boss said, we've had people from Seagle for the past 4 years in the opera studio. Go up there now and find out who's coming down the pipeline so we'll be prepared when we hear them. So it's everybody's sort of kind of getting a jump on these 32 kids, my kids.
So these young singers, they are mounting real operas and musical theater productions.
One, judgment.
Yes, and they do it in a very short amount of time. The first main stage show opens 18 days after they arrive. And then every other Wednesday they open a brand new show. So 10 days later, another show opens. 10 days later, another show opens. And so they have to be on their game, and they're really, you will ask a first-year singer, especially, they're like, what was your first month like? And they're like, it's like I got on a roller coaster and I just couldn't get off. It just kept going and going and going. And then what's really frustrating is they'll look at a second-year or a third-year singer who's just already got it all down, and they're so calm about it because they get there and they know what the game is. So they had prepared themselves mentally and vocally and everything for what's to come.
Mm-hmm. Well, apart from all the impressive things you do each summer, you have a really high-profile project coming up in that you're going to have a permanent exhibition at the Adirondack Experience, the museum in Blue Mountain Lake.
Yeah, the whole part of this has been transformative, really, for our community, for the company. But in 1957 and 58, the first African-American singer came to the Seagle Music Colony. John Seagle, who was Oscar Seagle's son, the founder's son, was running the company at the time. But the one thing that he was worried about was Fulton Fryar lived in a segregated society in North Carolina, and also at Seagle Music Colony, most of the singers that were coming up there were white kids from the South. The one thing Mr. Seagle was worried about was where he would sleep. And so the boys all bunk together and the girls have the girls' dorm, and everybody eats together. But they built Fulton a room on the side of what now was the laundry. It was this little room with a bed and a desk and a chair, and that's where Fulton lived. And so he spent the summer of 57 there, and he turned out to be quite the painter. And in the room, you open the door to this room, it says, "Always welcome to the closet, home of Fulton Fryar." And inside there is a Tennyson poem that he had beautifully lettered in calligraphy. So it's just this magical place. And then he came back again the next year and stayed there. And so time went on, and this last year, our insurance company said it had to be demolished, the whole building. And we were totally freaking out because we wanted to preserve this somehow. And the best thing is we found Fulton. So we got to bring Fulton up before the closet was taken away. And he visited with people and met with our board and just saw the room. We got photographs with him in the closet. And again, it was just one of those magical moments that seemed to happen up there.
So he was kept apart from the other students in a separate room, yet he made it his own. He had a great attitude during it. And some of the students, I guess, were saying that his room was actually better than their room.
Yes. In fact, Fulton said, you know, I had my own room where I could study my music. All those other boys were singing 99 bottles of beer on the wall. I mean, he was just so funny about it. And someone asked him, he said, you know, did it feel racist? Did it feel bad? And he said, I lived in a segregated society, and Mr. Seagle saw something in me that was going to help me be better. And he said, you know, if it were so bad, I wouldn't have come back the second year, but I was invited back. So it was a really wonderful time for him. It was wonderful to sort of meet him and hear that, you know, at 67, 68 years old, that positive energy that he still has and exudes. It was magic.
What do you think this exhibit is going to say to people? How is it going to speak to people? What does it mean to have this room now at the Adirondack Experience?
I think it'll cause us to still think about where we are when it comes to race. We still have troubles, and even though we don't have real segregation, we still segregate ourselves. Many people do, and I hope it causes people to think that there was a time where that was mandatory, and we don't need to do that anymore. But I hope it helps us remember our past. You know, the old adage, if you don't remember the past, you're destined to repeat it. And we don't want to go there anymore. We want to be an inclusive society.
So that really says a lot, his whole story about racial relations and how things have changed. And also opera itself, through the decades, has changed. And you are also showing very young people how they can aspire to something great. You're going into the schools. I understand you have a grant from the Glenn and Carol Pearsall Adirondack Foundation to bring an opera into the schools.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn and Carol. It's something that I always have wanted to do, and I lived in a small town in Texas, and I felt like if I had seen opera at that age, it would have just been life-changing for me, or to know that you could, you know, make a living singing, and also just to be introduced to this art form. So we got a grant, and we keep 4 of our emerging artists, and we go right into the schools, and we do shows for K through 6th graders. This year we did Little Red's Most Unusual Day, which is kind of a quirky take on the Little Red Riding Hood story.
I am the biggest bad wolf ever.
But the guy who put these together, John Davies, takes the music of Mozart and Donizetti and Rossini and then just adds new words to these familiar tunes and then tells a story through it. So he's got tons of them. And we also do those in the summer too. We'll go to the Crandall Library and different places around. And so I think all in all with the school program and the summer program, we probably see 8,000 or 9,000 kids a year. And that's significant for this area. It's really great.
And you're bringing culture to the area, and you may be inspiring young people.
I hope so. You know, we always have a question and answer session after it, and you know, the question's like, well, when did you start singing, and what? But you know, where'd you go to college? And so it's really important to interact with the singers because I want them to be able to see the singers at the beach or at the grocery store and go, wow, those are just regular people who do something extraordinary. I either want to be that, or I want to, as I grow, I want to be able to see that. And so creating that audience of tomorrow, today, demystifying the word opera is really important for those kids. And it's really exciting to see them excited to see us come into the schools again.
So you are touring this show and you are bringing culture to the people of the Adirondacks, and they can also seek you out, the people, by going to the Seagle Colony, and the tickets are available for these summer performances.
Absolutely, and you can always find out everything about us at our website, which is Seagle Colony, SEAGLECOLONY.org. It's got, the shows are up right now. You'll be able to read the singers' bios and look at their pictures and get to know them even before they get to Schroon Lake.
Well, we have a real gem in the Adirondacks at the Seagle Music Colony. Darren Woods, thank you so much for telling us about it.
Thank you so much for asking. I appreciate it so much, Paul.
Spotlight is supported by the Glenn and Carol Pearsall Adirondack Foundation, dedicated to improving the quality of life for year-round residents of the Adirondack Park.